also check out the DC Fandom Batman 3 Jokers panel, which I'm really excited to dive in, right? So let's do it.
That's what I'm here to find out.
Jeff Johns, let's go.
Welcome, thank you so much.
Dude, Jason Fatbach, I really like his artwork.
Hey guys.
We have been hearing about this for a long time, ever since certain cryptic hints got dropped, and we are finally almost about to see this when Batman 3 Jokers drops on August 25th. So first off, can you tell us what is it? What's this story? 3 Jokers, what does it mean?
Story idea is essentially that there's more than one Joker operating Gotham City, and Batman, Barbara Gordon, and Jason Todd are looking into what that means.
We already know about
this.
this.
Like, of what the Joker's up to, why there are multiple sightings of him, and we dive deep into the obviously personal connections the Joker has with each one of these characters.
I really like that image. The image of him with like the laughing fish in like the bowl.
Into a pretty twisting and turning rabbit hole that is the Joker's identity.
Now, was it always part of the idea that you were going to follow more than one focus, not just Batman's perspective on the Joker?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's been so long, honestly, since we first started talking about this story. But I do remember specifically, like, what I always, Jay and I talked a lot about is what I was really excited about exploring emotionally was how the
he hasn't wrote Batman a while, I'm pretty sure.
People, you know, Batman on several times, Barbara Gordon and Jason Todd have gone through horrible tragedies caused by the Joker and inflicted by the Joker, and they've come out of it and emerged it in different ways. Where Barbara healed right emotionally, I think, for the most part. There's some,
that's a cool cover.
There. Jason, I think, healed very wrong. They both have their struggles with what happened, but
Jason has a lot of struggles.
Three people and what the Joker's done to them, exploring that with these 3 characters, wonderful characters, it gave me so much appreciation for Jason Todd and Barbara. I mean, even Bruce in a new way.
Dude, his writing of Jason Todd in issue number 1, that's the best we've seen of Jason Todd in so long.
I've been searching for that Batman project that I've always dreamed of drawing, you know, since I was since I broke into the industry. I was looking for a Batman story that was really deep, emotional, classic feeling. And when Jeff had sort of,
I would too. If I was a great artist like Jason Fatbach, I'd be like, I want a big story.
This really feels like this could be a classic.
Yeah, I can see it being like a Killing Joke.
It's just the way that it's meant to be, and
I
feel like this will be, and on Batman's history in a big, meaningful way. And to me, that's very attractive. I've been searching for legacy. With my career.
This is the biggest thing of his career, in my opinion. Like it is.
Kind of create things that are going to stand the test of time, and I feel like this story is going to be something.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're putting so much pressure on me now.
Jeff, why this story for you, and why Jay to work with?
The best thing about comics, someone asked me once, like, what are your favorite stories? And I said, well, all my favorite stories that I've worked on are with the people I love, and like Jay. Jay and I had a great time on Justice League together. And
Dark Side War, that was awesome.
The story and the characters and why tell the story, what's the emotion behind it, you know, what's the purpose of the story. So working with Jay was the ultimate, you know, reason. But also I love Batman and Joker and Batgirl and Red Hood. I've never really told a story Batman story.
True.
I've done Batman Earth 1, but that's a different, younger,
it's not in
low-tech version of Batman in my head. And this was the first time I had the chance to write a real Batman story in continuity.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is in continuity. I hope it stays in continuity, honestly.
Stories out there about the Joker and Batman, and it's like, well, I didn't want to tell another one unless we had a different story, a story that looked at it a little bit differently and explored something new.
What are a couple that people might want to look at that inspired or that you're responding to in this?
Well, a lot of it's like, I think the era, really, like the post-crisis era, the early 80s, like Batman. Miller and the
Killing Joke, Death in the Family.
Half of the 80s was a time for Batman.
I can definitely see that. Like the whole thing of Batgirl, Killing Joke, Death in the Family, Jason Todd.
Format books like Batman the
Cult. Dude, that book, Batman the Cult, is really cool.
Character-driven mysteries that focused on something emotional that Batman was doing.
I like that book. That's a good one.
All these big bombastic stories about the whole universe being, you know, involved in Joker's craziness. But we really wanted to get back to the this grounded street level, character driven, smaller story. Like even though the mystery is very big, it's just a smaller
It is
story
grounded.
involving a handful of characters, and that was the attraction to it. Is like, can we do this cool self-contained Batman and Joker story? And it's influenced by a lot of other, you know, things, not just comic books, but life, real life, you know, beyond that. But yeah, it's the history that Batman's had with the Joker and these characters is really what's informed it, like all of it.
I'm honestly so surprised he mentioned the Colts. Like, that's... We'll actually talk more about that after the panel's done.
Not a dream, not a hoax, not an imaginary story?
Yeah, no, it's all... We try to make it as grounded and personal as
okay.
possible.
That's good.
Cool.
What were some of the influences on the artistic side, Jay? I know you mentioned, what was your introduction to Batman?
My introduction to Batman goes back to when I was maybe 7 or 8 with Batman 1989.
Okay.
My aunt had
That's a good movie.
Bought me the Batwing, the Batplane toy for Christmas, and I was like, well, I don't have a Batman figure to go with it. So my mom went to the Toys R Us a couple days later, got me a Batman figure. And from that point on, I was really just absorbed into this world of Batman.
Batman Hush.
Batman Hush. That I really was blown away by the art in a comic book, and that was Jim Lee's
Batman Hush.
That better artist I've been bringing.
Dude, that cover from the Detective Comics 1000, I think, that was really good.
My mentor.
That looks cool. Nice.
And a lot of Gary Frank stuff.
Dude, Gary Frank and David Finch. Nice.
Going back to a lot of Brian Boland. Because we
I can see that.
Kind of the feel that you had from Killing Joke, both in the way that we're telling the story and also artistically. And so I've been.
I can totally see that.
Brian
like
Boland's art and just really studying the line work and the way that he draws his panels and the way that he's telling his story visually. And so I brought a lot of that into my work with this. And it's kind of...
It makes it feel like a sequel from The Killing Joke.
I hope it kind of has like a little bit... I hope it has a timeless feel to it. Because that's
the
thing with art. You know, some of the great comic books, the great Batman books, have a timeless quality to them. And so I want this book to feel like it could fit in a bunch of different times. It could have been something drawn in the past. It could be something drawn in the future or the present. That was something that Brian Boland and Alan Moore really discussed a lot in Killing Joke, was that he really wanted it to have a timeless feel. And whereas
he is right.
In Killing Joke, Brian Boland really referenced a lot of the 1940s, kind of that classic 1940s golden age. I'm kind of referencing a lot of the 1980s. When I think about Batman in my head, it has that 80s aesthetic to it. And I think
80s aesthetic. That's what he says.
Years and have really like dived into things like the animated series and the movies.
Dude, BTAS is awesome.
And especially the classic comics. I think they're going to, when they read this book, they're going to see like a ton of little Easter eggs and subtle designs, and sometimes not so subtle designs, from those different things that I really have loved. I'm not afraid to wear those influences on my sleeve. I feel like it's just part of me, and as a fan first of comics, those are things that get me excited as a fan when I see them. And so I've really tried to put a lot of that in there, along with some new designs and new takes on things as well. So it's kind of an amalgamation of all these different things that have really influenced me. I hope when the fans read it, I hope that they get a kick out of all these little things that I've put in there. And maybe one day Jeff and I will do a commentary track or something, because there's all kinds of little things that I've put in there. I hope people will find them and check them all out, but I would love to go through and just talk about them.
I've caught a couple so far, but
list so that all of us can enjoy everything everyone else is finding in the book when it comes out.
Yeah.
In approaching the more than one Joker situation for this book, how did you, this is for both of you, distinguish them? How did you approach designing distinct versions?
Oh, making each Joker look different?
The eras or the versions of the Joker that Jay and I kind of identified. We call the first one the criminal.
Yeah, the criminal.
When Joker first showed up, he was more like a mobster and a little more grounded and a little less theatrical.
Yeah.
And he evolved, and there's a big point where he becomes kind of this prankster, where he's just loud and colorful, sometimes even a little campy.
They are right.
Into, I think, the more modern era we call the comedian.
Yeah.
A little scarier, a little bit more frightening, where he has this danger that's within him that harkens back to the original but also
All of these
incorporate
covers
some of
though
the
look so good,
non-comic
honestly.
book
Like they look really
fun
dope.
from the prankster.
I like that one. That looks
So
cool.
we just basically call them the criminal, the prankster, and the comedian.
Yeah.
Each one of them comes at things from a different point of view and has a different MO, and they're all off center, way off center, but they're all just slightly different from one another.
Yeah.
I have to give Jay massive props. Jay put so much of his, passion and talent into this book. I feel like sometimes I feel guilty, like I have it easy. I just have to write it. Like he has
True.
to actually make it come to life. He's directing it. He's making this thing real.
It's
And you
hard to
see the
distinguish
emotional
it. Like
quality he puts into his faces, the body language, the detail, as he says, the influences and Easter eggs and everything he's put into this. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. It's just going to be worth looking at just for that art. Story aside, it's just a gorgeous book.
On the artist's side, how did you approach those distinctions?
Again, it was going back and looking at a lot of what other artists have done and going through the history of these characters. And
I wonder how many different like Easter eggs are in
people
this.
have drawn them.
Because like I said, I caught a few in like the first issue, but I feel like there's more. There has to be more.
Designs that were out of continuity and whatnot. Maybe one day I'll be able to show some of that stuff. But in the end, it was, the criminal Joker goes right back to Batman #1 from 1940.
Very
So
first
that
issue.
design was right there. He has a big trench coat. He wears a white shirt,
Yep.
tie, and he's got the purple suit underneath. I decided to draw him actually looking a little older. He looks a little more grizzled in our book.
He does, yeah.
He's
A lot of people notice that. I noticed that too.
Very creepy. Yeah, he is actually my favorite Joker in the book because of that factor. It's just there's something off-putting about that fact. It's fun to play that up in the book and play up that look. And then the Prankster Joker I drew from the great Cesar Romero version.
Cesar Romero, okay.
Show, and the costume is a little bit of that, and a little bit of the Batman the Animated Series look, and a little bit of that classic sort of Neil Adams 60s 70s looking Joker. And then the comedian one is really just right out of the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
It was just line bowling, and we play with some different looks for
The comedian's like the easiest one to distinguish, right out of the Killing Joke, where the other ones have more to it in a
the
way.
mystery of it. I didn't want to change their physical appearance too much from each other. Because Batman's the greatest detective ever. You think he would notice this thing. Well,
Yeah.
everybody doesn't notice these things. It's because they all look very similar to each other. Yeah, there's so many really cool little nods to those classic books, especially with the covers that we're doing. There's 9
The covers look cool.
premium variants where I went through and we picked out different Jokers from different eras. And so we really think that fans...
When he's showing that on Instagram, I remember you released all of them.
And I really wanted to make...
It got me really hyped.
Hang them on your wall. Our book has a lot of 9-panel grids, and it'd be neat to have them on your wall in 9-panel grids.
I would buy that. A 9-panel grid, different versions of the Joker.
A lot of fun. I love comic book history, and I love playing off of what's come before.
Okay.
Honoring your history is very important, and I think that especially with comics, we have a great history of incredible artists and beautiful comic books, and it's so much fun as a fan myself to be able to play with that and to hopefully honor them. I want to honor the past artwork and the past artists and writers and creators who worked on these characters. And to me, that's very important to do.
So I'm actually curious, how will that apply to, like, obviously you had to make a lot of choices as well with your leads with Batman and Barbara and Jason. So without giving too much away, how did you decide which versions of those characters to give us?
The most, I guess the most
I hate this whole thing. Don't spoil. Come on, you can spoil a little stuff. Come on.
Bruce Wayne is the Batman that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Barbara's the Barbara that's been through
Killing Joke.
Has been through in the comic books. Same with Jason. So we wanted to go post-trauma and have some time that they've incorporated that.
Yeah, they have a lot of trauma and they're dealing with that.
And it's become part of who they are, for good and bad. And so that's really why we started with the character.
Now.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, that film was okay, but it just felt kind of like the thing that I don't like is when these like hosts say, "Well, we're not gonna spoil anything." Like, come on, give us some spoilers. Like, that's one thing I really like about Scott Snyder. You talk to him, which I never talked to him, but other people they talk to him, right? And he'll give a little like stuff like spoilers. Like I remember in like a interview he said for Dark Knight's Death Metal, he's like, "Oh, an army of Lobos." Like, if he was on DC Fandom, you would not have said that, because he's not allowed to spoil, but he'll spoil it for us, in a way. Like, not the biggest stuff, like, don't spoil the big surprises, but at least give us something to get hyped for, where this one, it was a good panel. I still liked it. I did. I liked seeing Jay Fabok talk about, like, how his different, like, the different books he actually took from to create all these Jokers, how he has Easter eggs in the book, and then Jeff Johns going into different books he did, like we heard Hush, Killing Joke, most of all, Batman Cult. Guys, that's a great book, and I really like how it's referenced here, and I actually really like that book. I'd actually be fine with covering on this channel, like actually going over that whole book for you guys, giving my thoughts on it. So, if you guys actually really want me to cover that, like this video. Let's see if we get a bunch of likes on this video, get a bunch of comments, and if I'm still not doing it, send me a message, comment below if you really want that, guys, because I'll do it, alright? But I just need enough support from you guys to do it, because it's an extra video. I already got a lot of content I'm trying to put out, a bunch of stuff, but if you guys really like it, I'll get it, alright? But still, that was a great panel. I liked it, but I just wish there was more shown. It looked like they obviously filmed it right before issue number 1 came out, or like probably a month in advance, but it would have been cool if they gave a little more, like just something that I'd been like, oh, I could talk about that, like, well, let's theorize. We're here, we're just still theorizing the same stuff we were theorizing when issue number 1 came out. You guys can constantly blow tune up on this panel. Did you love, did you hate? What was your favorite part from this panel? What are your theories for the rest of the series? And which panel you think was better, the Joker War or the 3 Jokers? But yeah, guys, like to give a big thumbs up on each channel. Make sure to subscribe to my next DC Fandom video. I'm gonna release more of these throughout the day. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching and peace out.